Do you anticipate Gevo being acquired down the road?
Do I anticipate it? Those kind of things tend to be out of our control.
We've got a history of well-timed acquisitions over the years, and that's certainly part of our DNA.
There will be, 8 Teslas, 10 Teslas.
Welcome to my channel, Gevonians. In this video, I will talk about the special shareholders meeting that was held on 27th of January. And my key points are the importance of the approved share amendment and Pat's response to the acquisition question.
We are happy to announce that the amendment to the company's amended and restated certificate of incorporation to increase the number of authorized shares of common stock from 250 million shares to 500 million shares was approved.
So why are the stockholders so happy about Gevo diluting the stock? If the stockholders would have failed to approve the share amendment, it could have jeopardized the deals with Chevron and ADM, as well as hindered Gevo's ability to pursue additional similar strategic transactions. Now, thanks to this approval, we can expect Gevo to land lucrative deals with both ADM and Chevron. And that's why a vast majority of the shareholders voted in favor for this amendment.
With the newly authorized shares, can you please outline on how we plan to utilize them in terms of partnerships and our joint projects?
Sure. So going forth, we have several strategic parties that there could be potential to do deals with them where they want to invest at a Gevo Inc. level. But in now having these shares available makes it a whole lot easier to have a discussion, because otherwise it was simply a non-starter. We didn't have the shares. So we'll see what we can get done on that front. We have other possibilities. For instance, we're working on, SAF is important, and we see there's opportunities to work with existing ethanol plants, decarbonize them, document the corn, and then add to it a hydrocarbon plant. We see potential for that, great potential for that. And so that attracts people as well. So I'm not sure exactly how we'll use the stock. Other than that, it'll be some combination of strategic relationships. It'd be, for instance, the MOU with Chevron contemplates us. They have options on shares, or could be other parties that come in. We plan on, in order to do, we've been discussing, and anyone who listened to ADM's call yesterday heard them talk about how they like SAF. We do too. We like it. We see the potential to be done with that. Well, that's a lot of capital right there, and so that's going to take partners. And so having a currency to work with partners, that's a very useful thing.
With Chevron on board as a strategic partner, Gevo would be able to scale up its production big time.
So, for example, if they took 100% of the offtake of 3 of the NetZero style plants, then they would put in the equity for those plants, or we have the right to take the majority of the offtake and sell it to somebody else, in which case they would get 49%. So then it might be that they invest in 6 plants.
During the Q&A session at the shareholder meeting, Pat was asked if he anticipates Gevo being acquired down the road, and this was his response.
Do you anticipate Gevo being acquired down the road?
That's a hard one to it's a hard one to answer, because do I anticipate it? Those kind of things tend to be out of our control. And at the right price, I'd love to see that happen. At the right price, what's that price? And the more time goes on, the more value we create. So, it's interesting. And we believe, winning technologies. We're the only game in town when it comes to doing carbohydrates to SAF as a focus, and that's scalable. It's a legitimate thing when we can see a plan on how to get to 1 billion gallons by 2030. That scalability is a big deal. And we can also show how to decarbonize it along the way, because we have the means along the way to build the net zero carbon footprint energy sources that go with it. So it's a very different game to play, and that's why we're getting partners and attracting customers.
It just so happens that the very next day after Gevo's special shareholders meeting, the CEO of Chevron, Mike Wirth, was interviewed by Bloomberg and was asked to comment on potential mergers and acquisitions in the near future.
You mentioned there, Mike, both your strong capital position as well as a previous acquisition you have made. Do you see any more M&A in your near future to build out your asset base?
Well, Kaylee, we've got a history of well-timed acquisitions over the years, and that's certainly part of our DNA. But the discipline that Guy referenced needs to apply in M&A as well. And in a market where commodity prices are elevated and equities are beginning to reflect that, I think we have to be very prudent in how we think about that. And so we're always on the alert for value-creating transactions for our shareholders, but we don't need to do anything unless it's really a deal that is a good one.
Chevron's most recent acquisition was back in 2020 when they acquired the oil and gas producer Noble Energy. The bid was $5 billion, even though the total value of the deal, including debt, was estimated to $13 billion. But Chevron got away even $900 million cheaper, since shares of both companies was traded lower on the day of the transaction. And the Noble investors, they received 0.11 shares in Chevron for each Noble share they held. So how did this deal affect the Noble Energy stock? The day the news was announced in July, the stock price popped 10%. But shortly after, it started to decline until it was delisted in October. Chevron recently announced their ambition to adopt the NetZero by 2050 aspiration. And as part of the company's NetZero strategy, you can easily assume that they will mainly be looking for companies in the green energy sector as potential acquisitions in the future. Shell has already started acquiring green energy companies. In 2021, they completed the acquisition of solar and energy storage developer Savion, and also the renewable energy residential retailer Inspire Clean Energy. So far, Shell hasn't acquired any SAF-producing company yet. Instead, they seem to prefer strategic partnerships, and they have already signed a number of collaborative partnership deals with Gevos competitors. So what's my point with all this information? If Gevo were to be acquired in the future, I see Chevron and Shell as the two main candidates to submit a bid. But honestly, I hope that will never happen. One of the biggest reasons why I've invested in Gevo is that I believe it will be one of the major players in the biofuel industry. The CEO of BLACKROCK, Larry FINK, believes that the next 1,000 unicorns will be green energy companies. And Bill Gates says that climate tech will produce 8 to 10 Teslas.
So yes, there will be 8 Teslas, 10 Teslas, and only one of them is well known today. So if you pick well, there will be Microsoft, Google, Amazon type companies that come out of this space.
From my point of view, Gevo has the potential to become a new Tesla. I'm not saying it will happen, but the potential is definitely there. One of the biggest risks with investing in Gevo, the way I see it, is if the company would be acquired in a premature stage, before NetZero 1 is up and running. If Gevo were to be acquired for less than $15 a share, I'd be really disappointed.
Man, I didn't sign up for this.
With $3 billion in financial contracts in place, plus the $30 billion worth of contracts in the pipeline, we can at least hope that Pat wouldn't consider any bid lower than that. What was your reaction to Pat's response regarding the acquisition question? Would you rather see Gevo make it big on their own, working together with strategic partners? Or would you be in favor for a merger with a big energy company like Chevron? Please share your views in the comment section below. And if you appreciate my videos, make sure to press the like button and subscribe to my channel. I make these videos just to inform and entertain, and you should not consider them as any kind of financial advice. I hope to release a new video soon, but until then, bye-bye.